So I thought I'd start off with this image. This is one of the finest pieces of science fiction literature written in the previous century by Philip K. Dick. It's called The Man in the High Castle. Our friends at Amazon were able to produce Man in the High Castle and make it into a TV series. The thing about Man in the High Castle was the question that they wanted to ask, what Philip K. Dick asked, was what if the Axis powers had won World War II? So you see an America that is divided between the eastern states and the western states. The western states are owned by Nippon or Japan. They're called the Japanese Pacific states. And the eastern states are run through Berlin. And so this type of imagery that this show shows of modern-day urban America, which has compromised on its values and integrated Nazi imagery and symbolism, is really powerful and potent. But during this period of time, emerges a man in the high castle, who somehow seems to create videos that start to go viral. They start to spread. These videos are of an alternate reality, the one we live in, supposedly, where the Allies won the war. So you have footage of Winston Churchill, you have footage of Roosevelt. These videos are so dangerous and so satirically powerful that the state decides to ban them, hunt him down, and then eventually kill him. The privilege that we have in Western society today, and I'll go back to the values that Joschka Fischer talked about, and the reason why Roger can actually stand up here and speak freely is we have that baked into our value system. If you try to do satire, or if you try to speak freely in some other places, you don't just spend one night in jail, your entire family does. So the privilege to have satire as part of our Western institution and our models is really a feature that can self-correct a lot of the errors, the ability to speak freely. The problem is that we are now entering an age where whatever we see visually is likely to change. So that means if I can change what you are speaking about, or if I can change how you sound or how you look just based on a visual image, what is that going to do to our ability to understand the world and to make sense and make meaning? The worst part about it is that the lowest common denominator in the highest office in the United States is using this technology to push misinformation and painfully dangerous ideas. Remember, America's experiment with democracy is a recent one, and it's also a very violent one. When you retweet images like this as the President of the United States, you may cause unintended consequences that you would not see. These are, of course, fake images, not true at all, but he's known to tweet out a few of these. These are just images, so if you thought fake news was bad, just wait for the democratization of CGI that is coming. So I asked myself, how can we use this technology for good? Can we actually use deep fakes for social good? How do we become better storytellers? Because what Roger says, I mean, the level of courage that he has, I don't have it. I will admit it. I do not have the level of courage that he has to take off his shirt, but also at the same time to sit in jail or prison. And I also think sometimes courage is not necessarily needed to create systemic change. One of the things that was looked at from the climate emergency versus the climate skeptics, there is the entire idea today that still lives, breathes, and is valid, that what Roger was saying is complete and utter bullshit. That climate breakdown, climate emergency, climate crisis is not real. And this idea is very potent in a large part of the world. It's because of the misinformation that has been put out there, denigrating the science, putting agendas behind what's there so that we don't necessarily have to move in the right direction. And there have been proponents of this at all levels of administration in the world. Can we play the video then? Because this is how we think we can use deepfakes to solve for this small problem.
I thought man-made climate change was just fake news. refused to change.
Hear ye, my friends, if Archimedes stated what was true, give me a place to stand and a lever long enough, and I will move the world. I fear, alas, that soon no lever long enough will move this world we have so terribly damaged.
We should have done much more. The consequences of our inaction and greed will haunt us forever.
Deep in our hearts, we decided to believe that climate change will occur in a distant and horrible future.
We did not care enough for the future.
I have burned down our home. I have burned down our future.
The time has come to answer for what we have done.
Today, we must accept responsibility. I must accept responsibility.
We are all responsible for this crime against humanity.
But today, all I can do is apologize on behalf of other world leaders and myself. I am sorry.
With all my heart and soul, I apologize.
Thank you very much. This is how we can combat misinformation with new technology to educate people. Thank you.